Trust me, gay is in, gay is hot. I want some gay, gay it's gonna be.
The Wrestling Life.
Hey everybody, it's The Wrestling Life. It's episode 413. It is the last week of June of 2025. It is hot as balls. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
Liam, we have so much to talk about.
And as always, so many things we can't talk about on the first and only wrestling podcast.
WWE has Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia this weekend. One of the most trouble-free places on earth in one of the most trouble-free regions on earth. This show is going forward. There's a ceasefire right now between Israel and Iran that they may or may not be abiding by. And U.S. targets in the region apparently are no longer at risk. So we're going ahead with the show. I don't think there was ever any question that we were going ahead with the show, but
I mean,
talent is in Saudi Arabia. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, reminding everyone, this is the company, albeit under different management, that would have put 70,000 people in an arena at the height of COVID if it were not for the country shutting down without blinking an eye. So, like, this was the only solution where this wasn't happening, and if it wasn't happening, is if the president instituted some sort of travel ban or advisement for American citizens to not travel to the region. So, yeah, no chance that the company was going to voluntarily not go through with it.
Big clip going around on Thursday this week was Saudi Arabia's best friend, CM Punk, shoving away a child who ran at him with a cell phone looking for a selfie. It's unclear really where exactly this is happening. This is talent, or talent was together. Punk and Orton were together. There were WWE security people there that later shooed the child away. But just not a very good look for even if, famously Punk is like, don't touch strangers. I'm a stranger to you. Don't touch me. This was a child wearing his WWE merchandise, running up to him, hoping for a selfie, and he quite literally shoved the child away. Do you have thoughts on CM Punk?
Oh, I always have thoughts on CM Punk. It wouldn't be a good wrestling podcaster if I didn't. Yeah, no, it's a great microcosm or example of sort of his whole deal. I would say at this point, which is on television, he's a great guy. The CM stands for caring man. Loves the fans. Everything he does for the fans. He's not here for the money or the suits at TKO. He's just he's friend to all, CM Punk. And then when you get this guy in the wild, it's like, no, he's an intensely private and very rich man who likes personal space. And that's not a problem, for the record. Like, not wanting random people, even children, I would argue, to run up to you and touch you. Should he have handled it better in the moment? Yes. But like, overall, if some people have like germ phobias, some people have many different reasons why they don't like, dealing with that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is funny to watch that when we know on TV. Like, again, it's a complete opposite of his current television character, and I think who he would like people to maybe think he is as a person as well when he's not on TV. His sort of public persona, even when he's not the wrestling character CM Punk, I think he would like people to think that he's more of an everyman and a friend to all. So yeah, when you see this, you go, "Hey, there he is. There's the guy I know," and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I have known CM Punk since the mid 2000s. Here's what I'll say about CM Punk. CM Punk was a guy, he still is a guy, and he'll always be a guy. So there you go. It look, to me this is on the security people too. It's like, why do you have security people if you're gonna let even a child rush the talent? Like,
Yeah,
where were the security people? Um, these sorts of things don't seem to happen very often in the United States. There was the overzealous fan in, I think, London or one of the UK shows earlier this year. It was touching Punk and other talent and got herself ejected. And I don't know. It just seems like security as a whole should be better, particularly overseas. But anywho, that's not what you called. Night of Champions is coming up this. Oh, did you like the video of Punk or the photographic evidence the Punk attended one of the No Kings rallies in Chicago?
well, of course, he's again caring man. Yeah, he's an ally, and it was very important to be seen at those rallies, which were I don't I don't quite know what specifically they were for, but a lot of people went to them, and Punk was one of them. Look, in general, if you're just not happy with it, good. I mean, good. Voice your displeasure. That's as American as apple pie. I would maybe have liked to have seen him voice more specific, perhaps objection to the actions of specific government agencies, maybe. But look, it's not nothing. It's not nothing. He didn't have to spend his one free day a weekend or whatever, his one non-travel day walking the streets of Chicago. I'm sure his wife was just out of frame walking with him because they definitely live together.
Mm-hmm.
So look, I'm not knocking the guy. I've gone to those types of protests in my life, um, and I think it's good. But yeah, sure did make sure to get himself photographed while he was there.
Do you think it's a little bit performative?
Maybe because it happened right on the heels. Was that like the week after they at least made the challenge that he was going to go to Saudi Arabia?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, the timing is interesting. It feels like, yeah, maybe he needed to beef up his celebrity liberal bona fides, as it were, to placate maybe some guilt, maybe some feelings of hypocrisy or accusations of hypocrisy that may have been flying around him. We know he reads it all. There's one thing we know about Punk. If you have tweeted an opinion about him, especially a negative one, anywhere on any social media platform in the last 5 years, he knows about it.
He does. He does. Night of Champions, Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross is on this show for some reason. I guess to get Sami a big pop, he's now beloved in Saudi Arabia, of course, after formerly not being allowed to perform there. He's now a beloved figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be wrestling Karrion Kross, a man who the internet discovered this week can't take back flat back bumps. Uh, Varying reports as to why. Some people think just he physically is not capable of it. Some people say he has a shoulder or back injury that he needed surgery for at some point years ago, and he never got the surgery and just kept working, and now he's permanently disabled or something because of that, and he physically is unable to take flat back bumps. Um, there are clips of him taking flat back bumps.
Mm-hmm.
They're just few and far between. He prefers to land awkwardly on his hip or his shoulder. Look, Ric Flair couldn't take flat back bumps. Ric Flair
Mhm.
broke his back, and so he learned how to bump on his shoulders and even his head. Karrion Cross just doesn't seem to like to take bumps. But do you have thoughts on Sami Zayn versus Karrion Cross and or the Karrion Cross bumping situation?
I mean, no real thoughts on the match. Gets Sammy a win. Uh, and then as far as the Cross thing, it's just interesting because the only thing that's ever been interesting about this guy is A, the astroturfing campaign, two, the apparent, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything prosecutable, uh, of about how secretly over he is based on the pops he gets when he
Yes.
pops up backstage or be popped on the recorded telecast of main event when he wrestles on that show. So this story was like I felt like the first time like anything remotely negative about him popped up in a report. I think Wade Keller maybe got this all started talking about how like one of the reasons he's not getting pushed is because they don't like how he works because he won't bump or doesn't like to bump or whatever the truth of it may be. And then yeah, all these clips went around of him not just in like there was one main event match where it was like really egregious, where I think he's wrestling one of
Yes.
the LWO guys and just literally takes no bumps in the match. Um,
Right.
and then there was like a match he had with AJ Styles like a year ago, which was he was taking a bunch of AJ's offense in awkward ways, which made AJ look bad. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I've never seen this guy and thought he was like a tremendous worker. Um, and maybe that's why the solution for when he has gotten pushes in companies has been he's a monster who just beats everybody and doesn't sell because he's not good at that. Which, not everybody's great at selling. Not everybody needs to be great at selling, but I think maybe he should maybe try to get better at selling. Personally, I don't think he is not so massively large or imposing that he can be a guy who doesn't sell and doesn't bump. So yes, maybe that is a factor. May not be that he literally does not take bumps like you said, but he can he clearly they don't like how he bumps, perhaps is a better way to phrase it. Like there were some real like pedantic corrections of like here, see, there's a clip of him taking a flat back bump, and it's like, okay, but like you see how he's taking it, right? And that it's not a good looking bump. That's probably more the issue here.
Right.
He takes very few of them, and when he does, they look bad. That's probably more the issue than literally he will not take bumps.
Right. Speaking of the gaslighting campaign to tell us that he's really over, did you see the clip of Scarlett and Karrion Cross walking the streets of Saudi Arabia and being mobbed this week?
Yeah, man and woman of the people. How about that? Just how organic.
It's fascinating.
I
It's
mean,
fascinating, isn't it?
it was funny to post that an hour after the image of Punk shoving that kid came out to be like, "We love our fans, yay!" I mean, it was kind of clever on their part. I give them credit for it. But yes, yeah, interesting that they're just they're just out somewhere being mobbed. Uh, would one perhaps posit that they went and found where like a group of fans were waiting outside of like a hotel or the airport or something and then just started filming? Maybe. But yeah, just absolutely mobbed, conveniently enough.
Yeah. There's a street fight on this show with Rhea Ripley against Raquel Rodriguez. This was hastily thrown together on Monday Night Raw. I guess the show was originally going to have a Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles Intercontinental title match, and then Dom has a rib injury. It's apparently fairly minor, but that match has been postponed, and so we got Sammy and Cross and Rhea and Raquel thrown on this show. As far as a premium live event card, kind of weak.
A little bit.
Rhea and Raquel in a street fight. Jacob Fatu defending the U.S. Championship against Solo Sikoa. Fatu is massively more over than Sikoa, the guy who's had much more TV time and was the focal point of a storyline with Roman Reigns for the better part of a year. Um, this doesn't feel like this is nowhere near as hot as it should be. Like people are going to be into seeing Fatu kill this guy, figuratively, not literally. But it yeah, this feels like a SmackDown. 10 p.m. top of the hour SmackDown match, not a premium live event match to me. Do you have thoughts on Fatu against Solo?
Yeah, I mean, look, people popped like crazy when he turned on Solo at the Money in the Bank show because people want to cheer Jacob Fatu. Like that's because he's awesome.
Yes.
So look, if this is the end of that one way or the other, you have basically two options. You could have Solo win through some sort of chicanery just to get the US title off of Jacob if you're ready to push him higher. Um, Otherwise, yeah, he should kill Solo in like 2.5 minutes, like figuratively speaking. Uh, yeah, this either way, this feels like this should just be the end of it, and Jacob needs to move on to bigger fish.
The Queen of the Ring tournament final, Asuka against Jade Cargill, a fascinating match. One that I can't picture in my head. I hope they've been working on it all week. Asuka will see what she has left in the tank, and Jade will see what she has left in the tank. Do you have thoughts on the Queen of the Ring tournament final?
Yeah, yeah, it's just not a match I can picture in my head, so that does make it more interesting in some ways.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, Asuka's coming off a long layoff, and I think you could argue that the Asuka that was there before she left had already kind of had a reduced role and was not the one that was working long singles matches and could have great matches with anyone up and down the card the way that she could a few years ago. Um, Maybe she still can. We'll find out. But and then yeah, you have Jade who has had, somewhere between passable to good matches in her past, but not not regularly. So yeah, I guess we'll see how much they can idiot proof this for lack of a better term. And then it's also just the winner of this gets a title shot. So I mean, I would think Asuka just because it doesn't feel like they've built up Jade to go for a title, and also because you have two babyface champions, and it feels like Asuka kind of is. It's not clear what her role is going to be yet. It feels like she could turn heel on EO if they wanted her to. So that might be the direction. So I would assume Asuka's winning this, but I don't know because it's just such a weird match.
It is. They did plant the seed for Asuka and Io uh during Raw. I'm not sure if it was on the show or during a commercial break, but they did have a little backstage interaction between those two. Could be a red herring, who knows? But Io Sky hasn't had a match in like 2 months for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And Asuka, yeah, that sounds exciting. So yeah, that makes sense. The King of the Ring tournament final, Randy Orton against Cody Rhodes. Two pros for a world title shot. Are you excited for this at all?
I think this is just going to be a classic, like get the crowd going crazy and do the least amount you possibly can match. Um, and these guys are going to do that masterfully.
They will have the most three-star match you've ever seen.
That's right. Yeah, I mean Cody's gonna win. They're gonna do Cena and Cody again at SummerSlam. That feels they've already done Orton versus Cena. They're not gonna do it again. So maybe my surprise here is why is Orton in the finals? Unless it's to set up, are they finally gonna start to build towards Orton turning heel? And maybe this is the start of that. I don't know. But yeah, as it stands, like I'm not excited to see this match. I saw it 10,000 times in like the years 2010 to 2012, and it was never particularly good. But yeah, they'll get a lot out of it. The crowd will go. They'll get the crowd going crazy for this. There's almost no doubt in my mind.
Cody is a much better worker than he was 15 years ago.
True.
I will say that. Randy, we don't really know if he's anywhere near a level of worker that he was 15 years ago. And even 15 years ago, there's a lot of debate as to whether Randy Orton was like the best wrestler on the planet or the most boring wrestler on the planet. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a little bit of a Rorschach test, I think. Yeah, we'll see. And then the main event, John Cena and CM Punk for the Undisputed WWE Championship. This could also be. Remember the John Cena Triple H match in Saudi Arabia
Mm-hmm.
years ago? They went like, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. And I'm not sure they actually touched one another. I feel like John and CM, they have good chemistry. They're wrestling soulmates, whether they want to admit it or not. But these are two old men now,
Mm-hmm.
and two old men working um, on a Saudi Arabia show. So I have no idea really what to expect. John is washed beyond washed, and CM gets the crowd, but really can't do a ton anymore. So I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be any good or not. What do you think?
Yeah, so I was trying to think of this. Like John Cena hasn't had a good match in several years.
Yes.
um, it's not something he's capable of, and him trying to play heel is not helping him have, it's not his that part of it is not his fault necessarily. Punk has had some good matches since he's been back with capable people like Drew McIntyre. He had a match with Sami Zayn on a Raw that I thought was good. Um, I think one of the Seth matches was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know what these guys have together. I don't think either one of them is capable of pulling the other one up to like another level anymore. The way that like Cena would work a lot harder when he worked with Punk, maybe than he would with other guys a couple of 15 years ago. I don't know. Did you know those guys feuded 15 years ago?
I've seen a couple of videos about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's we'll see. I don't love their chances again. Like we said, the crowd will, I'm sure, just be going crazy for it because they're two big stars. And yeah, I guess there's still some novelty to seeing these guys face off one last time. If that's part of the gimmick of this retirement tour is doing Cena versus all of his greatest rivals that are still in the company, and still wrestle. This is the next one to check off the box, I guess, and we'll see. We didn't really talk about that promo Cena cut last Friday. It's kind of old news by the time this people are hearing this, but the pipe bomb homage that Cena cut on Punk last week was interesting.
It sure was. It it was designed. I don't know. It was very self-referential. It was a bunch of callbacks to Punk's promo on Cena.
Mm-hmm.
He put him through. He snapped him through the Slim Jim table, which I know you love.
Yes.
And then he cut a heel promo on CM Punk that even with the modern WWE audience that is paying gigantic ticket prices to go to the show and therefore want to have a good time at the show and don't want to go hijack the shows or actually express their feelings anymore, like the crowd is very amiable generally. Even if they don't like something, they're just quiet. They don't really boo anything. But this is a heel promo on Cena, or Cena cut on Punk, and yet he almost got himself cheered.
Yeah. Like we don't have to go into a lot of specifics, but like the only thing that I think could be a general positive, because honestly, I don't think it does a lot of good to point out that your baby face is a hypocrite who's really only there for money, even though his entire persona is built around the opposite of that. It's not what I would do if I were trying to get a guy cheered. But he did point out something that we talked about off the air, which is that Punk, since he's been back in WWE, especially, but I would say even during some of his AEW promos, he is so self-referential. And Cena had a line about how you use the same 5 mic lines of doom or something. And I was like, maybe it's good that someone's pointing it out on TV that Punk's promos are very samey and filled with references to promos he cut 5 to 10 to 15 years ago. Maybe it's good that someone's pointing that out. Maybe that will spur our friend Phil to maybe put in a few more hours in the lab trying to come up with some new material.
Maybe so. Maybe so. We have an early SmackDown this week. It'll air everywhere else on Earth before it airs in the United States. and we'll see what they do on the Go Home show. I think there's a women's title match with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, last woman standing on that show. Just going for the tag titles. A lot of championship matches not on Night of Champions. So there's that. AEW this week continued marching towards All In. I look, they have an end goal, they have an end game, they have a destination. The destination is July 12th. I haven't loved a lot of the TV in the build to this. Collision feels like an afterthought. It was literally booked the day of the show last week. It was taped ahead of time this week. It's airing on Thursday night this week, but I don't know. I don't feel like they've done a whole lot that's made me more interested in All In to this point. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I would generally agree. I think spinning out of the end of the last pay-per-view, I thought they got off to a good start as far as establishing your big matches. That first promo that Mercedes and Tony had together, establishing Hangman as the number one contender, getting all of your ducks in a row. I was like, all right. And people are really into the idea of Hangman and Swerve joining forces. But that has really kind of slowed to a crawl. Like they acted like we were about to hit that, and maybe they're waiting to the pay-per-view, which is a respectable decision to make. Try to make people pay to see see them all the good guys finally join forces. I did think this week they did an interesting thing, which is they have now intermingled all 3 of the top men's matches on the show into like one amorphous blob of feuding, for better or worse. Like Hangman and the Death Riders, Bucks versus Swerve and Ospreay, and Omega versus Okada are all kind of intermingled now through various associations that these wrestlers have with each other on TV. So there's more continuity across that, which makes you feel like at the end of the day, at the end of that main event, there's going to be 900 run-ins, which can be exciting if you have the right payoff for all of that, which hopefully they do. But yeah, so I was like, I think that's maybe the most interesting thing. It's like, okay, the Bucks are friends with Okada, who is now on the Don Callis family. And then you also have all those guys mixed in, and then you have the Bucks also allied with the Death Riders and turning against Hangman. So it's like we've got like the Legion of Doom, and now we're forming the Justice League, I guess. So like it's interesting that they've decided to intermingle everything, because historically AEW is a promotion where there is very little crossover between segments. So they've gone in a different direction in that way. But as far as the week to week television, I don't disagree that it's felt very maintenance. It's, 1 week Hangman stands tall, 1 week Moxley stands tall, 1 week Mercedes stands tall, 1 week Tony stands tall, etc., and so forth. So it does feel like we're kind of spinning our wheels for at least we have been for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
All right. So, Saturday night's main event. We talk about Goldberg. Did you like his sit down interview with his good friend Michael Cole this week?
What swear word do you think he said?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I would just keep putting him in front of the people because he cuts great promos. So I don't think, but maybe that's more about like a scheduling thing about Bill not wanting to fly in. Maybe is this like the thing where they had to like send a ring and stuff so that Dwayne would train before his matches the last couple of times, where like Goldberg's solely focused on just like working out and so he can't like fly to TV once a week, so they have to send Cole to have him cut promos to get him on the show.
Could be. Makes sense. Yeah, look, there's worse ideas. Like we've seen them do worse ideas before. But yeah, Gunther and Bill are gonna wrestle, and Evolution. The first match for Evolution the same weekend is JC Jane against Jordan Grace.
Boy, you know what? Certainly doesn't feel like that show's an afterthought. That's for sure.
They've barely mentioned it.
But part of that might be because maybe the main event was going to be the Bella twins wrestling for the tag titles, and now one of the tag champions is hurt. But if that's the case, I think we already laid out what the scenario is, which is you just plug Roxanne into Liv space, which makes sense anyway, and keep going. But yeah, very little follow up or interest in plugging that show.
Yeah. Look, hey, part of me doesn't mind that because I get infuriated when AEW has 6 shows to promote and they're simultaneously trying to promote all of them. So yes, let's get through Night of Champions this weekend, and then we'll really start hitting Saturday night's main event at Evolution. But yeah, there's a little disconnect there. All right, we have a hard out. This is Thursday night, and so I'm on collision duty, so I am out of here. Is there anything else you want to talk about very quickly?
New Japan signed a judo gold medalist. Will he be good? Who knows?
Debuting at Wrestle Kingdom, they're trying to make it symbolic that Tanahashi retires and our new standard bearer will debut as the old ace retires. Feels like a stretch to me, but apparently a good get for them. So, way to go. They need the help.
We'll see.
All right. Well, till next time, everybody, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
We'll be back soon with more stories from the wrestling life.
Stay cool, crab fans.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Now, here are this week's bonus features.
All right. Gay Orioles. They can't lose today because they're not playing today. So that's good.
Right. Can't. On Pride Night of all nights, they got destroyed by the only team that doesn't have a Pride Night. Very disappointed in the Gay Orioles this week.
Indeed.
I think I'm going to break down and buy a pool pass for my apartment complex.
Your apartment has a pool. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
Look at you, high roller.
Yeah. We got it. It's pay to play, but it feels like this week it has felt worth it too. Even though it's like my frugal nature, which I try to shake, but the genes run deep, suggests I'm not home enough to where I get a lot of use of that. But it would sure be nice to have it as an option on days and weeks like this. So the siren song of the somewhat readily available public pool. It's the same reason that I generally go to my mother's to do laundry every week, who lives about 20 minutes from where I live, spending more on gas than I would doing laundry in my building, because on a certain amount of principle, uh, this apartment complex already gets most of my money, and giving them any more, I don't love that. But there are benefits to it in some ways. So my pride may have to take a hit for a summer of relaxation, or at least potential relaxation.
I try to keep on keeping on.